Hello, it's exactly 11 p.m. in Abuja and Lagos in Nigeria. In Johannesburg, South Africa, it's 12 midnight, and in Ghana, it's 10 p.m. Welcome to News at 10. I am Pa Kwesi Asari. In the next 30 minutes, we bring you the very latest stories from across the country and beyond. But first, the day's top stories. The Ghana Education Service accuses former public relations officer of forgery. The Ghana Education Service says its immediate past acting public relations officer, Reverend Jonathan Betty, has engaged in an act of criminality by forging its promotion letter. Well, according to the acting Director General of GES, Anthony Boateng, Reverend Jonathan Betty, who's been reassigned to the Central Regional Education Office, lacks integrity and has been drawing salary equivalent to the rank of Deputy Director since April 2017 till date, when he's not attained the level of a Deputy Director. The GES says it was compelled to come public with this revelation after Reverend Jonathan Betty, who's been the mouthpiece of the education management since 2015, spoke on the said issue. In other news, Speaker of Parliament has set up a 5-member ad hoc committee to investigate the cash for seats allegation against the Trade Ministry. Well, members of the ad hoc committee include Ameya Chairman Osei Asigbe, Yao Boabena Samoa, Dominic Ayeni, and James Kluche Aveji. Well, earlier, the Speaker of Parliament had dismissed the motion, describing it as fraught with procedural irregularities. He asks that it be corrected and resubmitted within 30 minutes. Also, the Ministry of Transport has charged the management of the Metromass Transport Company to recover 1.2 million cedi debt, crippling its operations. The National Democratic Congress is among key debtors of the company after it used the Metromass buses to convey party supporters to the party's major congresses in the year 2016. In other top stories, a banking consultant, Dr. Richmond Etuahene, is calling for transparency from the central bank in the exiting of its governors. He said that resignation of governors from the central bank must not be shrouded in secrecy, but full disclosures must be made of what transpired. The second deputy governor of the central bank, Dr. Johnson Esiama, resigned earlier in the day. And on a rather sad note, the managing editor of the Al-Hajj newspaper, Alhaji Idrisu Bature, has passed on after a short illness. Alhaji Bature, who is also a political commentator and a known member of the opposition National Democratic Congress, reportedly died at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, where he had been on admission. That's by way of our top stories tonight. Next is a big one. Thanks very much for joining us on News at 10. Remember, you can also join us with your views, comments, and suggestions on any of our top stories tonight. Visit any of our social media pages on Facebook and on Twitter. The Speaker of Parliament has set up a 5-member committee to probe an allegation against the Trade Ministry for selling seats for guests to seats close to the President during an expatriate business award ceremony. Well, there's more in the following report. The meeting was scheduled for 12 noon and members were ready on time, but for 3 hours they exchanged pleasantries as they had been away for weeks for the Christmas holidays. The meeting was however called to order at 3:05 p.m., where the Speaker formally communicated the reason for the recall. The Minority Chief Whip, Muntaka Mubarak, in moving the motion said the act by the Trade Minister was in violation of Article 175 of the 1992 Constitution and the Financial Administration Regulation, as well as the Public Financial Management Act.
It was very worrying, not to only me, but to many Ghanaians, both home and abroad, to wake up to the news that it was possible in our country, Ghana, today, that sitting proximity to president will have to cost money.
MP for North Tongue Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, in seconding the motion, said this was in fulfillment of Parliament's oversight responsibility. He said there were inconsistencies in the events around the said scandal that required an investigation.
This is a matter that very significant sections of society, the Ghana Integrity Initiative, which is the local chapter of Transparency International, has called for a public inquiry into this matter.
The Minority Leader, Haruna Idrisu, advocated for a 5-member ad hoc committee to investigate the matter.
Mr. Speaker, I therefore will urge you to guide this House in proceeding further to set up a 5-member special ad hoc committee to investigate the matter of sale of seats, depending upon which side of the president you serve, for the purpose of expatriates award, and whether it does not breach the ethics.
But the majority saw it as an abuse of the parliamentary process. The majority raised a host of inaccuracies in the motion presented to the Speaker. He asked whether or not Muntaka was part of the petitioners or a mere convener because the petition did not portray him as such.
Mr. Speaker, in simple terms, this is a case of misrepresentation when he said that he has appended his signature.
He therefore wanted the Speaker to dismiss the motion, describing it as incompetent.
This is a veritably incompetent motion that has been submitted by...
Thank you very much.
So I would urge and pray you to dismiss this. Let them come properly. If they come properly, even today, we are ready to debate.
After over an hour of back and forth of whether or not the motion was competent, the Speaker said the motion was full of procedural irregularities, directing that the House adjourns for the motion to be corrected. The House was consequently adjourned. So those were earlier shots from the Parliament House. And so just by way of update, the committee has been put up by the Speaker of Parliament. And just to give you an update of the membership of that committee, which is an ad hoc committee, I beg your pardon. Members include Ameya Cherme, right, Osei Sibe, Yao Bwabi Samoa, Dominic Ayeni, and James Kluche Aveji. So these are the members of the ad hoc committee set up to investigate the seats for cash allegation that's been leveled against the Trades Ministry. Well, staying on the story, the ruling of the Speaker of Parliament came 2 hours after the minority was given a chance to correct procedural errors in their petition, which they didn't. Let's take a look.
Earlier on, the leaders were inclined to have a special committee for this purpose. I'm in support of it. So we'll have a 5-member committee to fully investigate this matter and report to the House as soon as possible. And that is 1 day after, that's the 24th. So the committee will be composed and it will be, they will work expeditiously and report on the 24th.
Meanwhile, the competence or otherwise of the minorities motion remain a basis for argument between the two sides of the House. The majority maintains that motion is error-ridden, describing it as incompetent, but the minority insists they have nothing to correct because it is competently clear.
Order 93.4, just go and look at it. Order 93.4 clearly says once we had the motion on the floor, it was not a place to be raising any other issue apart from what is on the other paper. And the majority there grossly goofed. But obviously, you know, the majority will always try to flex. And I think that when we went on the break, we insisted that nothing was done wrong. What we did was very competent. If they said it was incompetent, they should show us which of the rules that we flouted, which of the standards, which of the constitution. We have shown them that what we did is within the constitutional means.
The speaker was advised by the clerks at table that the motion itself was wrong. So the speaker shouldn't accept it. He shouldn't admit it. I went to the speaker and persuaded him that it may be misconstrued. The technical deficiencies are there. Let's point it out to them and then provide them with reasonable space for them to go and effect corrections. If you read issues about motions, how motions are to be moved, they didn't satisfy, the motion didn't satisfy it.
Motion. There was a motion before the House, a competent motion, signed as far back 27th. Therefore, what were we debating on and what was he ruling on? A motion. As to the matter of signatures and referral with the undersigned, it was to satisfy the minimum requirement for the recall of Parliament. The Speaker exercised proper judgment when he recalled Parliament because the words in Article 1123 is shall. Once he receives a petition, he shall summon Parliament. It is in pursuit of our standing orders that he has additional time. Therefore, the Speaker's ruling of an irregularity is preposterously absurd. We will challenge it as an incompetent ruling. And is it not bizarre that as we speak now, what's the terms of reference of the Committee of Inquiry?
When the incident happened, whether the matter could have been raised ahead of...
He was outlining different matters as to recalling Parliament. He didn't deal with terms of reference. But at least I have some understanding with the majority leader on what will constitute the terms of reference. So what is important is that the ends of justice is being served. Accountability and transparency and the exercise of oversight, the investigative powers of Parliament is being tested. And this is our litmus case. Maybe some of these matters will become credible candidates for a special prosecutor.
So it's likely a terms of reference.
All right, so this is our very top story. We will spend a bit of time expatiating a bit on it. Roxanne Nelson Dafiamekpa is a member of Parliament for South Dai in the Volta region, and is with the Minorities Legal Committee that drafted the motion. Thank you very much, Roxanne, for your time, and good to have you in the studio. Just to start with, what went into the drafting of this motion, knowing fully well that there was a possibility that this whole entire motion could be thrown out?
Now, let me seize the opportunity to say good evening to your viewers and to also wish them Happy New Year. In the primariness of all this, we don't have formats as to how a motion is prepared in Parliament. If you look at our standing orders, the document we call the standing order, the rules of Parliament, unlike the rules of court, where you have schedules, the schedules will tell you the nature of the forms. So, for instance, if you are preparing a motion or notice, which form should it take? If you are preparing an affidavit in support of a motion, which form it should take? They are attached as schedules to the rules of court. If you are preparing an ex parte motion, which is non on notice, what form should it take? If you are preparing a caveat, a subpoena, all those, we call them court forms. They are exhibited. And therefore, at any time as a lawyer, depending on the situation and the process you want to file before court, you have recourse to these forms. It is unlike that in Parliament. Now, when you decide to prepare a motion, how do you prepare it? There's no format. Today we ask the majority leader. If you say it is an abuse of the process of the House, What is the standardized process? He couldn't tell us. You see, there are no defense to the motion that we brought. And so they sought a vainglorious attempt to water down the effect of the motion.
The Roxy, you people do this yourselves every time.
You know, no, this is a very serious matter.
Okay.
You see, what he did, he ought to have done it before the motion was moved. You see, in law, we call it a preliminary legal objection. You are saying that before even the motion is moved, I have a legal objection on procedural matters. So you rise, and the speaker would have called him and would have asked the prime mover of the motion, the Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable Muntaka, to sit down and hear the majority leader. Then he would advance his arguments regarding whether or not the motion on the face of it is procedurally correct or not.
There were issues about signatures.
No, hold on.
The minority raised issues about an error-ridden motion, procedural lapses, and all that.
Those are words that he carefully chose as a red herring to water down the effect, how we raise them in Parliament today with this motion. Look, when we say we the undersigned, if 77 persons signed
a motion
or signed signatures in support of a motion, those who have not signed, are they part of the undersigned?
What's the procedure in Parliament?
Good. There's none. All we needed to do was to ensure that the motion that we have filed, we satisfied the minimum requirement of 41 members. We gather signatures of 41 members. And let me give you an analogy. If you want to sue, if in a class action, about 80 people want to sue, say, TV3, you can't have all the names of all the 80 plaintiffs on the face of the writ form. So normally what lawyers will do is that you bring the first two persons on one person, the prime plaintiff, then you prepare a schedule and you add the names of all the other plaintiffs and exhibit it to the writ form. And that is what we did. Look, 77 of us have signed. These are the forms. These were the things they disputed today.
Is this not tantamount to what occurred somewhere last year when the minority also attempted to, institute investigations to the Ford gift saga, which you, the majority at the time, also scuttled?
No, we did not. We told them that matter was before Shraj. This matter, the tenor, the trust of the motion before Parliament today, it was not before any.
What are you seeking to achieve as a minority? This matter, I believe, has been dealt with by the presidency. Indeed, the ministry has also issued a statement clarifying itself. What are you seeking to achieve?
We are saying that the president's investigations and the statements emanating from the ministry later on brought out a lot of inconsistencies.
Like what?
Like one, that the ministry said earlier on said that they were not involved. The minister's statement, he said neither himself, nor any of his deputies, nor any of the directors or officers from his ministry was involved in the collection of monies. All right? Then subsequently, another statement suggested that they actually collected money, but the monies have been paid into the account of the Millennium Development Foundation. All right? Now, again, the minister suggested that none of his officers or deputies were involved. But the letter that came into the public domain was actually signed by my own brother, Carlos Ahinkra. And then the kind of information...
Right.
So hold on. So we are saying that the inconsistencies...
Okay, so you believe there are inconsistencies, even after the president has come out to clarify it.
Including the quantum of monies collected.
That's okay. That's okay. Eventually, your wish was granted. Indeed, an ad hoc committee has been put up, has been set up. The majority has about 3 people. You have 2 people.
Yes, it's proportional to the representation in the House.
If you go ahead to... I don't want to use the word lose this case because it's not about a win or lose, but if the committee establishes that indeed there was no wrongdoing, will you be satisfied with it?
We are not seeking to establish whether there was a wrongdoing. We are saying that in accordance with the laid down regulations and statutes governing the use of public funds, were the funds disbursed in accordance with this law?
Are your minds made up as a minority? Because I get the impression the majority has an entrenched position, the minority also has an entrenched position. Is that the case going into this committee sitting? Because when you watch what happened in Parliament, yes, clearly both sides had entrenched positions.
You see, the committee will sit and receive evidence and testimonies,
right,
and they either viva voce and or documentary evidence, hardcore evidence. So they'll interrogate it and they'll come out with a report.
Right. So you're confident a good job will be done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm confident that at the end of the day,
a good job will be done. Thank you very much, Roxanne. I appreciate your time. Roxanne Nelson Dofiamekpo is the Member of Parliament for South Dai constituency in the Volta region, and is also the minorities on the minorities legal committee that drafted the motion.
Can I make a small point?
Briefly.
That the motion was competently moved.
I thank you. I heard the minority leader say that they described the speaker's ruling as preposterously absurd and an incompetent ruling, and you intend to challenge that.
Yes.
I hear you. Thank you very much. Two other stories. Anti-corruption campaigner Edem Senanu has welcomed the Speaker of Parliament's decision to set up a 5-member committee to probe the seat for cash allegation. He spoke to me early on News 360.
I think we should look at this as a very positive development in growing our democracy. Many of those who reported on what might transpire today suggested that this was just going to be thrown out. However, the Speaker has proceeded to make sure that the committee is set up. I don't think it's a smokescreen. If the committee does a good job, we can establish whether any laws, policies have been breached, whether any persons have benefited unduly from what transpired, and that will give clarity and confidence to all Ghanaians as citizens.
What should we be expecting after this committee?
Usually, the terms of reference is what will determine whether, at the end of the day, we'll go to have information that allows us to have an informed position on what transpired. So that's important. I think the next stage would be when the report itself is done and made available. We look out for whether the Parliament will just protect its own or go out to indicate that, yes, A went wrong here, B went wrong there, etc. I think that it will be a very useful exercise for all of us.
You're still watching News at 10 live from Adesawe. We're back shortly. Welcome back to News at 10, and to this very developing story. The Ghana Education Service says its immediate past acting public relations officer, Reverend Jonathan Bette, engaged in an act of criminality by forging his promotion letter. According to the acting Deputy General Secretary of the GES, Anthony Boateng, Reverend Jonathan Bette, who has been reassigned to the Central Regional Education Office, lacks integrity and has been drawing salary equivalent to the rank of a deputy director since April 2017, till date when he's not attained the level of a deputy director. The GS says it was compelled to come public with this revelation after Reverend Jonathan Bette, who's been the mouthpiece of the education management body since 2015, spoke on the said matter. The Education Service has hinted it will release more details in the coming days. And on a rather sad note, the managing editor of the Al-Haj newspaper, Alhaji Idrisu Bature, has passed on after a short illness. Alhaji Bature, who is also a political commentator and a known member of the opposition National Democratic Congress, reportedly died at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where he had been on admission. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Now, TV repairers at Labone in Accra say they will resist efforts to compel them to pay the television license fee. They've called for education on the utilization of the TV license fee to ensure television owners or collectors of the free risk offer free risk rejection.
The law mandates Ghana Broadcasting Corporation to take TV license, but its inability to do so fall on the judiciary. This has triggered public outcry. We are here to find out what the TV repairers also think about the TV license fee.
I'm paying the house, so why should I pay for someone's machine who I'm repairing? Without the repairing, they can't watch it. So as I'm working for them, repairing for them, they are paying the house. So why should I pay here again as they are paying the house? So I think for that issue, it's a very big problem for us, and they have to revisit it.
Me a TV repairer. On pa ko to TV no asay no de abrɛ me sɛ me nsiesie na me so me nya bi kakra mfa nkɔma no. Wo si me metua, matiwa sɛ bet bi sɛ on pa ko to e no. Watua ɛwɔ hɔ no. At the same time nso no ebia na on use on hwɛ TV. So to say, or hwɛ pen drive and nso obetua ka. Pen drive no use no ebia na enye bibia foreign film no hwɛ. On hwɛ GTV. Decoders na use no use UTV, use TV3. And you say use TV3 for so mabeji ende mo de ana GTV nkwana e wo so mabeji ende. Say TV3 so mabeji a UTV so mabeji atinka mabeji other sessions ni na mabeji. Na fe yen fa TV ni nyina mam na mfa nkosi wonom na yin say yen hwe bibia biom.
Mentiasie. To the point say o de adeaba o so mo chichire mu yema obia eden eti ne ho asese we ni agisika no ediaye so ba se want me chichire ma na nto nipa na adwunu mu ya ebede ne nipa na tua sa tax ne senso system ne mo eden enti no sa tax na sa TV lances no so sa ba be ka ho na yinim de sa lances test kan e kwakwakoye na mo o ma sete e friend say court ama no say wutuo wantuo ya baba be chiwo me mentiasi enti o mo chichire mu yi
TV license in the bed in Kakra because I say me see me so me tia masako to of you na me ko TV oh na fi so me ko me hwehwe because this your program be any so GTV she ni wo adom Kakra na hwehwe enti so ka se me tia dia me hu mfa so be wo so hu nya se tia.
Well, that's all for News at 10. Nearly said News 360. That's all for News at 10. Thanks very much for watching. My name is Parkwesi Asare. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.